The unexpected strike, the silence of the vast galaxy, was broken by the sudden appearance of a fleet. It was Earth's first strike against the alien invaders, a move that no one could have predicted. The enemy had swept through several star systems, crushing everything in their path. They believed no one could stop them, especially not a species like humanity. Earth, with its relatively small fleet of ships, was nothing more than a minor annoyance, or so they thought. But they were wrong. The Earth fleet, though small, was well equipped and highly trained. It didn't have the massive numbers that the invaders did, nor the technology of some of the more advanced species in the galaxy, but it had something far more powerful: determination. The crew of each ship had one goal: to defend their home and show the invaders that humanity was not to be underestimated. As the Earth fleet approached the alien Armada, a tense silence filled the command rooms. On board the lead ship, Captain Sarah Jameson stared at the holographic display, her eyes narrowed in focus. The enemy ships were massive, far larger than any human vessel. The alien fleet, with its sleek, powerful designs, looked unstoppable, but she wasn't intimidated. She had studied their movements, learned their tactics. She knew exactly how they operated, and she had a plan. The battle began without warning. A single shot fired from the Earth fleet's main ship hit the enemy's closest vessel, a sleek black ship that had been charging its weapons. The blast caught the alien ship off guard, its shields failing to absorb the impact. The ship exploded in a burst of flames, disintegrating in an instant. The crew of Earth's ship cheered, but Captain Jameson remained focused. This was just the beginning. The aliens had underestimated humanity's resolve. They were used to quick victories, to watching weaker species crumble under their superior force. But this time, they were wrong. Earth's fleet had been designed to hit fast and hard, using surprise and agility to strike at the heart of the enemy. Every ship was equipped with advanced weaponry, and every crew member was trained for this one purpose: defend Earth at all costs. That the aliens quickly regrouped, their ships forming a defensive formation. They were not accustomed to this kind of resistance. Their commanders had expected a quick and easy conquest, and now they were facing a fight they hadn't planned for. In the midst of the chaos, their leader, a tall and imposing alien named General Vrek, watched the battle unfold from his flagship. His eyes narrowed as he watched Earth's fleet move with precision, taking down one ship after another. "We underestimated them," Vrek muttered under his breath. "This will not happen again." He gave the order for his fleet to retaliate. Weapons fire lit up the space around them as the enemy ships launched a counterattack. But Earth's ships were fast, darting around the alien fire with ease. The humans were not as powerful, but they were smarter. They moved like shadows, slipping in and out of the alien defenses, hitting weak points and then retreating before the enemy could respond. For every alien ship that fell, the Earth fleet's morale grew stronger, but the aliens weren't giving up. They called in reinforcements, massive warships that appeared from the darkness of space. These new ships were larger, their weapons more powerful. It seemed like the Earth fleet might finally meet its match. The humans had already taken down several enemy ships, but these reinforcements were no joke. Earth's ships could dodge and weave, but they didn't have the firepower to take down these larger vessels. Captain Jameson watched the situation unfold, knowing the odds were now against them. The alien reinforcements were relentless. They were coming in from all sides, their ships more powerful than anything the Earth fleet had encountered so far. It was only a matter of time before they overwhelmed the humans. But just as the enemy closed in, something unexpected happened. A signal, faint at first, came through the fleet's communication system. At first, no one understood what it was. But then the signal grew stronger, clearer. It was coming from Earth. It was a message that made the blood run cold in the veins of the alien commanders. Earth wasn't alone. General Vrek looked at the communications officer in disbelief. "What is this?" he asked sharply. The officer checked the coordinates and his face turned pale. "It's a second fleet, and it's huge." The aliens had underestimated humanity. Earth wasn't just sending one fleet. They had more ships, hidden and ready, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. What the enemy didn't realize was that Earth had been preparing for this moment for years. They had built their fleets in secret, designing them for maximum effectiveness in battle. The aliens had thought they could conquer Earth with ease, but they had just awoken a force they could never have anticipated, and now they would pay the price. As the message echoed through space, Captain Jameson allowed herself a small, satisfied smile. She knew what was coming next. Earth's reinforcements were on the way, and they were about to make their presence felt. The first battle was over, but this war was far from finished. The enemy was about to learn that when it came to Earth, one fleet was just the beginning. The fear spreads the signal from Earth's hidden fleet continued to echo across space, like a warning bell ringing in the silent void. The alien fleet, still recovering from the damage Earth's ships had inflicted, now found themselves facing a new threat, one they were not prepared for. General Vrek's once confident expression was now replaced with unease. The tide of battle had shifted, and he could feel it. He was no longer looking at a minor rebellion. Earth had brought an entire armada, and it was only the beginning. As Earth's reinforcements came into view, the sheer scale of their force was overwhelming. The first fleet had been a warning, a test, but the second fleet was different. It was a statement. Every ship that entered the fray seemed to move with purpose, its weapons primed and ready for action. The enemy had underestimated humanity's resolve, and now they would feel the consequences. "What do we do now?" one of Vrek's commanders asked, his voice trembling with uncertainty. Vrek's cold gaze swept across the battlefield. His mind raced, calculating their options. It was clear they couldn't win with just firepower. They needed a strategy, and fast. But what could they do against an opponent who had seemingly anticipated every move they made? In the distance, the Earth fleet was reorganizing, moving with terrifying precision. Ships that had once been scattered were now forming a united front. The alien forces had been scattered, reacting to every move the humans made, unable to coordinate in the chaos. Earth was winning the psychological battle before the physical one even began. General Vrek clenched his fists. He had always been able to crush his enemies with sheer strength. But this was different. This wasn't about strength. It was about resolve. Earth's fleet was not only determined but relentless. Each time the aliens thought they had gained the upper hand, Earth's ships appeared from the shadows, striking when they least expected it. Back on Earth, the command center was buzzing with activity. Captain Jameson watched the displays with a calmness that belied the danger of the situation. They had inflicted significant damage to the alien fleet, but they couldn't afford to slow down. Every victory, no matter how small, was important. The key was momentum. Keep the pressure on the enemy. Don't let them regroup. We have them on the ropes. Jameson muttered to her first officer, Lieutenant Marco. We need to keep up. The attack, hit them while they're still disoriented. Marco nodded. But, Captain, their reinforcements are larger than we anticipated. If they manage to recover and regroup, we won't let them, Jameson interrupted. We need to push forward. Earth's fleets are ready, and we're about to show the enemy what happens when you underestimate us. Meanwhile, the aliens were scrambling. They had sent word for more reinforcements, but it was clear to Vrek that help was not coming fast. Enough. Earth had already proven that they were not to be taken lightly, and the fear was spreading throughout the ranks. As the second Earth fleet arrived, the alien ships began to retreat, but not without hesitation. The reputation they had built for themselves across the galaxy was quickly fading. They had once been seen as an unstoppable force, but now the galaxy was beginning to see the cracks in their invincible armor. Vrek stared at his fleet's command display, watching as their ships pulled back. It was happening. The aliens were starting to lose their nerve. Earth's attack had shaken them to their core. In the midst of the retreat, one of the alien commanders approached Vrek. His voice was low, a note of fear lacing his words. General, they are relentless. The more we fight, the more ships they send. We cannot keep up with them. Vrek's face hardened. Do you think I don't know that? He snapped. But this is not the time to falter. We are the superior force. We must regroup, strategize. We cannot allow ourselves to be scared off by a few ships. Yet, deep down, Vrek could feel the fear gnawing at him. The humans were doing something he had never seen before. Their tenacity, their ability to adapt, to outthink him at every turn, it was unlike anything he had ever encountered. As the hours passed, Earth's fleet continued to tighten its grip on the enemy. They moved in clusters, no longer attacking blindly but strategically. The alien ships found themselves cornered, unable to escape. Earth's smaller ships darted in and out of the enemy lines, making quick strikes before retreating back into the shadows, leaving the aliens to wonder where the next attack would come from. On the ground, Earth's soldiers were ready. They had been preparing for this day for years, knowing that the moment would come when they would have to defend their planet from an enemy they couldn't see. But now, with every alien ship that fell, their confidence grew. This is just the beginning, Captain Jameson muttered to herself as she watched the battle unfold. She knew that the next phase would be even more difficult. The aliens were desperate, and a desperate enemy was always the most dangerous. But that didn't scare her. She had seen what humanity could do when pushed to the edge. They fought not just for survival, but for the future of every human being on Earth. The battle was far from over. But one thing was certain: the fear had spread. The enemy was no longer fighting to conquer. They were fighting for their lives. Asterisk. The battle for survival, the battlefield, had turned into a chaotic war zone. The once dominant alien forces now found themselves struggling to maintain any sense of control. Their large, imposing ships, designed to strike fear into the hearts of their enemies, were now moving with hesitation. Every turn, every maneuver, seemed to be an effort to escape Earth's relentless push. General Vrek, the leader of the alien forces, stood in the heart of his flagship, his fists clenched as he watched his fleet slowly being dismantled. This cannot continue, he muttered to himself, watching as another of his ships disintegrated into the void. The silence of space seemed deafening after the explosions that had rocked the fleet. The tide of battle was turning, and for the first time, General Vrek realized something he never thought he would. The fear he had felt earlier was not just within the ranks of his soldiers, it was within himself as well. Earth's fleet had been like a swarm of hornets, darting in and out, hitting fast and hard. Every time the aliens thought they had secured a position, another human ship would appear, tearing through their lines with surgical precision. They were attacking where the aliens were weakest, exploiting every flaw in their defensive strategies. Vrek's voice echoed in the command center. We need to strike back. Every moment we wait is another moment Earth's fleet grows stronger. But there was a problem. Earth wasn't just sending ships to fight, they were sending a message. Earth had learned to fight like a wounded animal, wild and desperate, but their resolve was what made them dangerous. And now Earth's fleet was not only surviving, they were winning. And the alien forces were losing their grip on control with each passing minute. The situation was even worse than Vrek realized. While Earth's fleet had been dealing blow after blow, the message Earth had sent earlier, the one that shook the core of their fleet, was starting to make sense. The humans had more ships, far more than the aliens could handle. And they weren't stopping as Earth's forces continued their assault. General Vrek knew that he needed to come up with something drastic. Their superweapons designed to annihilate entire fleets had failed to make an impact. The humans had anticipated their attacks, dodging and weaving with a grace that left the alien commanders perplexed. Do we have anything left? Vrek demanded, his patience growing thin. We still have the reserve fleet. The communications officer responded hesitantly, but they are far away. It will take time for them to reach our location. Vrek's eyes hardened. Then we'll just have to make do with what we have. He turned to his officer. Prepare the final assault. We'll push Earth back or perish trying. Meanwhile, aboard Earth's flagship, Captain Sarah Jameson stood before the war table, her eyes fixed on the holographic displays. The battle had been long and brutal, but they weren't done yet. Her crew was exhausted, their ships battered from the constant fighting, but they had come so far. They couldn't afford to stop now. We have them on the ropes, Jameson said with quiet determination, her fingers tapping the table. But don't let up. The moment we give them room to regroup, we've lost. Jameson looked around at her officers. They were tired, yes, but there was something else in their eyes afire. The battle wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about sending a message to the galaxy. Humanity was here to stay, and no one, not even the most powerful alien fleet, was going to take that away. Suddenly, a new alert flashed on the screen. It was from the reconnaissance drones that had been sent out earlier. They had detected something. A new fleet. Not the reinforcements Earth had called for, but a fleet from the alien forces. Larger and more terrifying than anything Earth had faced so far. They're not backing down, Lieutenant Marco said, his voice strained as he stared at the display. They're sending everything they've got. This is their final play. Jameson clenched her jaw, feeling the weight of the situation pressing down on her shoulders. All ships, prepare for the worst. This is it, the final confrontation. Out in the void of space, the two fleets converged. The alien reinforcements arrived, their ships dwarfing those of Earth. These were the ultimate weapons massive, heavily armored and bristling with firepower. They had one purpose: to crush Earth's resistance in a single, overwhelming strike. As the alien ships engaged, the battle became a furious dance of destruction. Weapons fire lit up the sky, and the sound of explosions rocked the ships. The sheer size and power of the alien vessels threatened to swallow up the smaller, more agile human ships, but Earth's fleet, though smaller, was built for speed and precision. They darted in and out, striking vital points on the alien ships before retreating into the darkness of space. In the midst of the chaos, Captain Jameson's voice rang out across the comms. Focus on the weak points. Take down their weapons. Systems first. We can do this. We've been prepared for this. Her words sparked something in her crew. With each attack, the enemy's grip on the battlefield loosened. The aliens had underestimated humanity, and now they were paying the price. General Vrek watched helplessly as one of his ships was ripped apart before his eyes. He had thrown everything he had at Earth, yet the humans refused to back down. It was as if every time he struck a blow, they struck harder. His confidence, once unshakable, was slipping away. Earth wasn't just fighting for survival. They were fighting for something far greater. And this time, the alien invaders were the ones who were outmatched. The moment of truth, the final battle had arrived. Earth's fleet, battered but unyielding, now faced the largest alien reinforcement force they had ever encountered. The massive ships of the alien fleet loomed over them, their sheer size casting a dark shadow across the battlefield. Each ship was a fortress, bristling with weapons designed to obliterate anything in its path. The sight of them was enough to make even the most experienced warriors second-guess their resolve. But Earth's fleet had no such doubts. They had already shown the aliens what they were capable of, and now they would finish what they had started. Captain Sarah Jameson stood on the bridge of the flagship, her eyes locked on the incoming alien forces. Her crew, equally weary but resolute, worked furiously to prepare for the inevitable clash. This was the moment they had been fighting for, the moment that would determine Earth's fate. "Prepare to engage," Jameson commanded, her voice steady despite the tension in the air. She could feel the weight of the universe on her shoulders. Every decision, every move made now would shape the future of humanity. The stakes had never been higher suddenly. The communication officer turned sharply, his face drained of color. "Captain, it's a transmission from the enemy's flagship," he stammered. Jameson's heart skipped a beat. "Put it through." A hologram flickered to life in front of her, revealing General Vrek's grim face. His once immense confidence had vanished, replaced by a mix of frustration and desperation. The alien commander's cold, calculating eyes met Jameson's. "I underestimated you, human," Vrek said, his voice devoid of the bravado it had once held. "You fought well, but this ends now. Surrender, and we will spare your fleet. Fight on, and we will destroy you." Jameson's grip tightened on the armrest of her command chair. She could feel the weight of Vrek's words. He was offering a way out, a way to avoid annihilation. It was tempting, even now, but there was no going back. Earth's survival depended on this. "We won't." "Surrender," Jameson replied firmly. "You've come to take everything we've worked for, but you will leave with nothing. We'll fight until the very last ship." Vrek's eyes narrowed. "Then you choose destruction." With that, the transmission ended, and the silence of space returned. The tension in the command center was palpable. The crew knew the aliens weren't bluffing. This wasn't just a fight for territory, it was a fight for survival. And the aliens weren't going to stop until every last human ship was destroyed. Jameson turned to her officers. "This is it. No more retreats. We stand firm." "Captain," Lieutenant Marco called out, his voice strained, "there's a new development. The aliens are deploying something we've never seen before." "What is it?" Jameson asked, her heart racing. "They're launching an experimental weapon," Marco said, his fingers flying across the controls. "It's enormous. It's targeting our entire fleet. The crew fell silent, each person processing the magnitude of what Marco had just revealed. Earth's fleet had faced heavy fire, but nothing like this. The experimental weapon was like nothing they had seen before, and it was aimed directly at them. "We need to disable it," Jameson said, her voice calm but with a steely edge. "It's our only chance." The tension was unbearable as the fleet moved into position. The alien superweapon was a massive, dreadnought-like ship that seemed to hum with raw power. Its weapon systems were glowing ominously, ready to unleash a catastrophic blast. As the Earth fleet approached, the air was thick with anticipation. Every officer on the bridge was glued to their screens, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. This was the moment they had prepared for, the one that would either make or break the entire war. "Now," Jameson barked, her command cutting through the thick atmosphere of the bridge. The fleet launched forward in a coordinated assault, moving with terrifying precision. The alien ships tried to retaliate, but Earth's ships were already in motion, weaving through their lines. The superweapon's firepower was overwhelming, but Earth's fleet was faster, more nimble. It was as if they were moving to the beat of a song, their movements so synchronized that they seemed almost supernatural. The battle raged on. The alien reinforcements, though powerful, struggled to keep up with the speed and agility of Earth's ships. And in the midst of it all, Captain Jameson's ship moved closer and closer to the alien superweapon with a final, decisive blow. Earth's fleet struck the superweapon's core. The explosion was massive, sending shockwaves through the surrounding ships. The alien superweapon disintegrated into nothingness, and for a brief moment the battlefield was silent. But the silence didn't last long. The enemy's fleet was still formidable, and their commander wasn't finished yet. General Vrek was watching from his flagship, his eyes filled with a mix of rage and disbelief. His greatest weapon had been destroyed, and now there was nothing left to stop Earth's forces from pushing forward. In that moment, as the smoke from the destruction of the superweapon lingered in space, Captain Jameson knew they were winning. The alien force, once thought to be unbeatable, was now crumbling under the pressure of Earth's relentless assault. But this wasn't over. Not yet. Vrek would have one last move, and she had to be ready. "This is just the beginning," she whispered to herself. "We'll finish this, no matter what." The final victory. Dust had barely settled from the explosion of the alien superweapon when the remaining alien fleet began to retreat, a desperate act of survival. Earth's fleet, bloodied but not broken, continued to advance. The enemy commander, General Vrek, now faced an irreversible truth: his once mighty Armada was crumbling, and the invasion of Earth had failed. Captain Sarah Jameson stood tall, her face illuminated by the glow of the holographic war table. Her hands trembled slightly, not from fear, but from the exhaustion of what they had just endured. The final battle had taken everything from them, every ship, every crew member, but it had also revealed something extraordinary: humanity's strength. "They're retreating," Lieutenant Marco reported, his voice tinged with disbelief. "But they're not abandoning the battlefield entirely. They're falling back to their final defense position." Jameson's eyes narrowed. "They won't just run. They'll fight to the bitter end." The alien ships were retreating to a hidden outpost located in the farthest reaches of their empire. It was a place of no strategic value except for one thing. It was home to the last remnants of the alien fleet's command, and Vrek wasn't about to let Earth walk away victorious. not without one final act of defiance. "We can't let them regroup," Jameson said firmly. "Take the fleet into position. We end this now." But before they could move forward, the enemy's desperation manifested in the form of a final surprise. A new transmission came through, only this time it was not from General Vrek. It was from the Alien Council itself. The message was brief, direct, and chilling. "If you want Earth to survive, turn back now. This is your last warning." A deep silence hung over the bridge. The Alien Council was offering an ultimatum, not a plea for peace, but a threat of something. Much darker, final weapon, something they had kept hidden. Jameson's heart raced, but she kept her composure. "It's a bluff. They don't have anything left. Their power is fading, and we are stronger than ever. We'll push forward." But deep down, she knew that the moment of reckoning had come. The enemy might have been broken, but they were not defeated. Vrek and his forces would never surrender, not with their pride and their final weapon at their disposal. As Earth's ships closed in on the alien outpost, the dark shadows of the remaining enemy fleet loomed ahead. The atmosphere crackled with tension. Every officer on the bridge, every member of the crew, knew that this would be the ultimate test. But it wasn't just about strength anymore. It was about willpower. It was about proving that humanity would fight until the very last breath, no matter the odds. Without warning, the alien fleet shifted. Ships began to position themselves around the outpost, creating an impenetrable defensive ring. Varric was ready for one final stand, but Captain Jameson was ready as well. "All ships, prepare for the final assault," she commanded. "We finish." This, with a single signal, the fleet moved forward, locked in formation. The enemy ships opened fire, unleashing a barrage of weaponry unlike anything Earth had faced before. The sheer force of the attack rocked Earth's ships, sending them spinning and veering off course. Yet, despite the chaos, they pressed forward. They wouldn't falter. They wouldn't turn back. As the ships closed in, Jameson's ship, the Valar, darted to the front, cutting through the alien fire. Earth's fleet moved with speed and precision, exploiting every gap in the alien defenses. One by one, the alien ships fell, their shields failing, their engines burning out as Earth's smaller, more nimble ships targeted vital points with perfect accuracy. But just as victory seemed within reach, a new wave of firepower lit up the sky. From the heart of the alien fleet, a massive, pulsating beam shot forward, aimed directly at the Valar. It was the last weapon, the final, desperate move. Jameson's heart stopped. The beam was coming faster than they could evade. There was no time left to dodge. "Brace for impact," she shouted, her voice a mixture of determination and resolve. The blast hit with a force that rattled the ship to its core. The Valar rocked violently, and alarms blared across the bridge. For a moment, everything went dark. The crew held their breath, waiting for the end. But when the smoke cleared, the Valar was still intact. Barely, the ship was damaged, its shields nearly gone, but it was still functioning. "Damage report," Jameson called, her voice steady even as the ship groaned under the weight of the damage. "We've lost some systems," the officer replied, "but we're still operational. We're not done yet." With the enemy's final weapon failing, the remaining alien ships had no choice but to retreat. Their last line of defense had crumbled, and Earth's fleet had held strong. Vrek, now on his last legs, watched as his fleet fell apart around him. Earth's strength, their determination, their will to survive it was undeniable. With a final, defiant roar, General Vrek ordered his remaining ships to retreat. But it was too late. Earth had already won. Captain Jameson watched the alien forces scatter across the stars, defeated. She took a deep breath, a weight lifting off her shoulders as she realized that this fight, this war, was finally over. Earth had survived, and now humanity would stand tall. The galaxy would know that when Earth fought, they fought with everything they had. And no one would ever forget the day humanity showed the universe what it meant to never give up. The crew of the Valar let out a cheer, their exhaustion momentarily forgotten. But as Jameson looked out into the void, she knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy had just witnessed humanity's strength, and they would not soon forget it.